Whispered Logic Puzzles. Thank you for joining me. I'm Andrea, and I'm going to work through one intermediate Minesweeper puzzle step by step. This would be a good one to watch after the tutorial. Well, that was quite an opening here. Okay, so let's just start at the edge and look at what we've got. So the places my eyes would point to first, anywhere there's a 1 on the corner, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, down here, 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 here. There are so many mines that you can see. I guess let's just start marking them. Okay, so here's a 1 on the corner. So we'll mark it, a 1 on the corner. 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 Mark that, a 1 on the corner. Mark it, and a 1 on the corner. Mark it. Look at that. We're down to where there's only 28 mines left in this game. That's amazing. Okay. So now, if you're playing on the computer, you can click both mouse buttons over a number. So both the left and the right together. So like right here, I can click left and right. At this point, it will do nothing, but it takes a look at the number that I'm on. It says, okay, this is a 1. Is there one flag in one of the 8 squares surrounding? Yes, there is. If there's one flag, it will open up every other square. If any of the squares that it opens up are open, it will open up every other touching open square until it gets to a row of numbers again. So now we'll just go through and click, just double click everywhere around these. So I could say, well, let me double click here. Well, it didn't do anything. That's because this 2 has 1 flag, but not a second. So nothing will open. And here with this 3, again, nothing. There's 1 flag, 2 flags, but it won't open, but it doesn't cause any harm either. Here's a 2, and that did open. We have 1 flag, 2 flags. Well, then we've got a 3 beside it now, so let's go ahead and click it. And nothing. This 1 is bordering, so we can click here. And it did open. As you'll see, that gave us another corner with the 1. But here's a corner with the 1. Let's take this 2. No, nothing. There's nothing here. But I bet you can guess this corner with this 1. We put that in and we click on that 2. Yep, there we go. That opened up. And here's a 1 right here. Let's click here. And let's say, okay, let's click this 2. What happens? And like I'm sure you thought, nothing. Because we have the 1 here and nothing else. Same with this 3. Nothing. And this 3. Nothing. But here we have a 1. Let's click it. And we've got a 2 touching. Nothing happens. Here we have a new 1 at the corner. Again, so far I've only put in 1s that are on the corner. Let's go ahead and do that. 1 on the corner. Let's click around it. It opened up. And it opened up. And it opened up. Now this 4 won't. The 3 won't. The 2 won't. And down here, that opened up. This won't. None of these 2s will open up. I'm starting with just the ones on the corners. We're going to ignore that right now. So here we've got a 1 on the corner, so let's go to the ones that are touching it in here. Now there's a 1 touching it here. There's a 2. What do? It won't do anything. Here's a 1 on a corner now. So let's put it in there. That 2 won't do anything. Neither will these. This 3 won't open up anything, but that 1 will. And so will that. Now the 2 and the 3 won't open anything. But again, like I said, there's no harm done. So sometimes if I'm just flying through quick, I'll just double click around. And by double click, I mean the left and the right mouse button. I click my right mouse button to mark where a mine is. I click my left mouse button to open an unknown square. And I click both of them together, just like that, on top of a number to open up around it. So we have this 1 here. Let's click there. This 2 will do nothing. This 2 will do nothing. 3, nothing. But here we have a 1 that touches there. And here we have a 1 that touches nothing. It won't do anything right now. But it's on a corner, so let's stick it in there. And the 2 will do nothing. That 1 will though. And now there's a 1 on a corner again. So we'll stick that in. Okay, so we've gone around, and the only mines we've put in were from ones on a corner where there was no other possible square around that 1 but the corner. And look at that, we're down to 23 mines. So that's pretty cool. So maybe let's go now and pick up some of these 2s. So here's a 2, and there are only 2 squares that could potentially be mines, which means they both are. And right here, there's a 2, and there's only 2 that could potentially be mines. So I'll click that. We have no idea about this one, so we're going to ignore it. Here's a 2. We couldn't open anything else, but it has a 1 right here. There's only 1 other place that could be, so we'll mark it. There's a 2 right here. It's got that 1. There's only 1 other place it could, so we'll mark it. Again, this 3 still won't open, and I know you know why, but we're not going to go there yet. This 2 we can't do anything about because we're only looking at the 2s that only have the 2 squares by them. And this has 1 mine, and then 2, 3 squares total. So this one's not going to be done right now. Now this 2 has a mine over here and only 1 other square. So let's mark it. This 2 we can now click and it opens. Now this 2 we can click and it won't do anything yet. And here we have a 2 with a mine on this side and an empty square here, so let's mark it. Works the same for this square. There's those bolts, so we can click it. And now we have another 2 that has a mine and 1 other unknown square. So we mark it. And these we can't do anything with. And they don't have where it's straight up obvious, so we're not going to do it. This 2 has 1 mine here and only 1 other square, so we mark it. This 2 has 1 mine but 2 other squares, so we're going to ignore it. And same over here. So we went all the way around the board again, only taking the most obvious. And we're now down to only 14 mines left to be found. Now let's here. 1, 2, 3 squares. One of them isn't marked, so let's mark it. Now we can come over here to this 3, but that won't open anything else up because there were only 3 bordering. This 2, we can double click. This 2 we can do too. Now we have a 1 on a corner. So let's mark it and come down to these ones and click and click. And since we've already done 2s, we've got a 2 with 1, 2. So mark it. This 2, we have 1, 2. So mark it. Then we'll click and we'll click. And there we go. Now we've got a 3. That's 1, 2, 3 squares. 2 of them are marked. Let's mark that 3rd. Now we can double click with both those buttons here. We can click with both those buttons here. We're not doing any 4s yet. This 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're not going to do it yet. And these 2s have too many, so we're going to ignore them right now. Let's come down here. This 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. So let's do it. And just because we're clicking around, we can count this 5 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not marking any new ones, but let's click. And this 3, we can click first. There's no risk. But add 1, 2, 3. And now we have a new 3 that only has 3 squares bordering it. 1, 2, 3. 2 are marked with mines. Let's mark that 3rd. And now this 2, let's click. And let's click. And we can click here for funsies. It won't do anything. But we'll say, okay, that's 2. There's 1 and 2. And we can click here and it won't do it. We can click there and it opens. Suddenly we have another 2 that only has 2 bordering squares. 1, 2. So let's mark it. And we can click there, but since they're all open, let's click here. Okay, so we went all the way around. And again, we've only marked what was obviously a 1, 2, or 3 based on how many squares we're touching. So now we have this 4 here. Let's just do it. There's 4 squares touching it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and mark those. Now let's click around. Let's just click, click. Well, we can see how far we opened. Here's another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's mark them. And then let's just click, click, click. And look at that.